Question of the day. What's your favorite major tweak to a board game system? So think about expansions, yes, but expansions that do kind of major futzing around with the rules. So for instance, Power Grid, the stock expansions is one. Steam Barons. Think about ones that really kind of twist how a game is played. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite kind of major tinkering with expansion. Because today we're taking a look at Treasures, this is Catan, Seafarers, and Cities and Nights scenario. Treasures, Dragons, and Adventures. That's a lot of words, but really and truly, this is a scenario pack for Seafarers and Cities and Nights. Not or, and. So just know ahead of time, you need both of these expansions in order to really use this product. Otherwise, you can't really use it at all. So Seafarers and C&K, they assume everybody has that because it was one of the ones that in the boom era of the major people coming on board, everybody had in their background of the shelves, you could see all the Catan expansions. And so Seafarers and Cities and Nights are required for this, but let's take a look at what this is. More of an overview than a review because you've got to dive into and really talk about the different scenarios in general and kind of find out what this will do for you if you're already a fan of these game modes. So here we go, Treasures, Dragons, and Adventures. Catan, Seafarers, or Catan, Seafarers, Cities and Nights scenario, Treasures, Dragons, and Adventures. That is a mouthful of a game, but the point being these are scenarios for these expansions here. So this is not a standalone or even an expansion by itself. You can't just pick up the regular game in this, you have to have this one and this one. Now why do I say this one and this one? Technically there are ones that use just Seafarers, but let's be honest, most of these here say how to incorporate with Cities and Nights, and this one requires both of them. So there's a good chance that you're going to want both of them, or else you're not getting the full benefit of the game. So first and foremost, not a review. This is a first impressions overview of the components and things like that, so you know what you're getting in this. I just want to kind of go through some of the expansions really, or some of the scenarios. First of all, Treasure Islands. Now, the interesting thing is where this came from. Right down here is a note. So what these are expansions or scenarios that were in the app version of the game that have now come from the app into the main version, which is cool because it means that if you like those, you can now play them full-blown in person with your friends. So you have Into the Unknown, I like that. Into the Unknown. 1 and 2. And then what these scenarios do, they give you the interesting setup. Obviously, it shows you how to set it up here with additional components and all that you'll need. Plus, it shows you the special rules and what treasure tokens do and special harbors and the robbers rules for this expansion, for this scenario. So it's really cool because it gives a ton of scenarios that you can use that involve dragons and things like that. So it's just a fun thing that involves all sorts of new components. So the greater desert dragons, here we go. Shows you what to do with the dragons, how they act, how they react. So it's just changes the game in a way that you have all of these different scenarios that some play better with certain player counts. Some of the player counts, you have to do different things. But you get these nice little dragon tokens in here, as well as some extra houses and villages and all that sort of stuff for the main colors of the game. But the little dragon tokens are nice, as well as obviously your typical things like this, some different roads and rivers and things like that, as well as these treasure tiles here. New numbers too, but the main components you're going to need from the 2 expansions. So that's what comes in this. It is, like I said, don't be fooled. Don't walk up to your shelf and think, oh cool, I've been looking for an expansion. This is an expansion of 2 expansions, or a kit bash for 2 expansions essentially. So that's what this is. Let me know in the comments what you think right now. So that's it. At the end of the day, I really like that you get scenarios. Period. I'm a big fan of scenario-driven or scenario-changing games. Why I love Maracaibo, right? That it's a board game, it's a Euro game that does have some scenario changes to it. That kind of thing always thrills me. Now, at the end of the day, the major thing that this is going to get dinged for, again, not a full review, but more of an overview, but I've got to ding it for this ahead of time, is that you have to have 2 entire $50 plus scenarios to do this. Now again, you see me review very expensive things all the time, so it's not an issue. But what I mean is, if you just own the base game, like some people do, and you see this on the shelf and you go, oh wow, Dragons for Catan, you may not catch that small print there on the front. It doesn't even say you have to have it. It just says Seafarers and C&K scenario. You may not know what that is. So that's the downside, is that if you don't know what this is, it's going to hurt you by buying it and not being able to use it until you go purchase the other 2 expansions. And then you need to learn the other 2 expansions, get those down pat, and then learn them together, and then Once you know that, then you can start playing these scenarios. So it's a little tricky. So it's more of this is an advanced product for people who are familiar with the rules of the base game and the 2 expansions, as well as want to make some more changes with those scenario-based driven things. So at the end of the day, you let me know what you think of this and how it really adds to your game, but it's a hard sell for someone who only owns the base game. Granted, if you own the 2 expansions, this is a no-brainer. This was originally released on the app, and they took the things that were in the app that people really enjoyed and put them onto the board game table. So if you're a fan of the app, you're a fan of these scenarios already, then obviously this is a no-brainer. So that's what Catan, whatever you want to call it, don't care. Seafarers, City of Knights, Treasures, Dragons, and Adventures adds to your game. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this right now.